So, I was hesitant to come in here because I didn't really think I had a story. I'm HIV negative, and I've been fortunate in that I've never really had any losses, any direct losses, of people who had AIDS. But then I thought about it and I realized that I do have a story in not having a story. So I'm 38 years old, and I was raised with definitely the fear of AIDS and HIV, and I think sometimes I wonder how much of my sexuality and how much community I've missed because of that fear. Recently I had the privilege of volunteering at a gay resort in Guerneville, Northern California, and a lot of the people who would come in for the workshops, we had workshops every weekend, were men in their 50s and 60s, and many of whom were HIV positive, and I would listen to their stories, and I would find myself, it's just going to sound so strange maybe, but I would find myself sometimes jealous, of course not of their status, not of their HIV status, but of the fact that they were able to live through this experience, and to really live through this experience. Sometimes I think that my generation is so concerned with politics, with gay marriage being the foremost issue, and the people who came before me, the people who really fought, were of course fighting a political issue, but I feel like what they were really looking at was this question of spirituality. I mean, when you're facing so much loss and you're looking at death straight in the eye, you have no choice but to look at life and questions of the spirit, and and now I just wonder. I know that we have made progress in so many ways, but there's something missing, I feel like, with all of the apps, with all of this sexual ways of social networking, I guess you'd call it. I just sometimes just wonder if we are forgetting something in all of this. There's a beauty, of course, in all this freedom, but then the question that I always have is just, what are we fighting for, really? So it's kind of my story. It's just, trying to figure out, what am I fighting for? What is my story? And what am I going to live to tell?